Okay, hello Year 10 and welcome to your first video lesson from myself. This is on percentage change and it's a lot harder than it looks. There's a lot of people that make little silly mistakes, even higher tier students that make little mistakes on these percentage change questions. So have a go at it. This is, like I said, this is the first video lesson, and what I will do, I'll go through 6 questions and then I'll give you some questions where you can pause the video, have a go yourself, and then I'll quickly go through it, check you've got the right idea. Any questions, just comment on the show my homework so that I can then respond to you, and that's it really. Okay, so I've just put in the top corner here a little bit of a formula. Now the formula is actually the change divided by the original amount times by 100. Now I've sort of put the times by 100 in brackets because I think it's easier to, especially with a calculator, this is just boom, whatever the change is, divide it by the original amount. I'll show you what that means in a minute, and then times by 100, done. Okay, but without a calculator, which I'm going to focus on now, what I would suggest you do is put the change in, divide it by the original, simplify that to a fraction, and then turn it into percentage. Now that's the putting it into a fraction phase, and then this part, turning it into percentage, is the same as timesing by 100. Okay, so when you change a fraction into a percentage, you times by 100 anyway, so that is that bit. Okay, right, so without any further ado, let's begin. So sales fall from 800 to 520 in a week. Calculate the percentage change. Now, as I said earlier, we want to have change on the top there. So the first thing, and actually these are all worth 3 marks each. The first thing that you need to find out is the actual change. What's happened? Not the percentage change, but the actual change in the number. That will get you 1 mark as well. So that's a freebie. Everyone should be getting that one straight away. So how do we get from 800 to 520? Of course, we take away 280. You then want to put the original number on the bottom. The original is the number you start with. So that's that. And then we will change that into a percentage in a second. So first of all, they're both in the, I'm going to simplify this, they're both in the tens. So it's 28 over 80. They're both in the twos. 14 over 40, I know you could have done, you could do this in less steps, of course. They're both in the twos. 7 over 20. And at this point, we want to make it so it's a percentage. We'll actually times both top and bottom there by 5, giving me 35 out of 100, which is the same as 35%. You might have realised it's 7 over 20 straight away, 35%. If you did, brilliant. Next one. Change here is 240. The original is 300. Simplify. Boom, boom. Both in the threes. 8 over 10. And then we know that 8 over 10 is 80%. Okay? Number 3. Bit tricky here, just slightly trickier numbers. The change, 430. The original, 2150. Both in the tens. And this is where it gets really tricky. 43, that is a prime number. Okay, so the only thing that can go into both of these is going to be 43. Now I could write my 43 times table just down the side to help me out a bit. 43, 86, 129, 172, 215. Look, there we go. 5 times that goes into that. So that's the same as 1/5. Now you could times top and bottom by 20 to make it 20 out of 100 and then turn that into percentage, but I'm just going to go 1/5. I think we know, 20%. Right. Oh, one thing I missed, which actually what I was going to tell you, make sure you don't miss. This here from 800 to 520, that was a decrease. You won't always get marked down for whether it's an increase or decrease, but let's get it in there just to be safe. The next one, 300 to 540, that is an 80% increase. All of these say change. So you can say what the change is. This one, also an increase. Basically, if it goes up, it's an increase. If it goes down, it's a decrease. Happy days. Right, the next one actually says calculate the percentage increase. So you won't need to say, oh, this is an increase. We've got the difference divided by the original, 3/6, which we know is a half. And we know that that is 50%. It's a 50% increase, but we don't need to write that because they've already written that for us. Right. Next couple example questions. Question 5. This is a very common question. Cars bought for a certain amount, and what does it go to? Houses. They like to, use real life words here, and real life situations, I should say. And we've got, here's a word that we need to make sure we know as well. Depreciation. Just a fancy way of saying decrease. Anyone know what the fancy way of saying increase is? Appreciation. Okay, so depreciation, DE, decrease, and then the other one is increase, appreciation. Okay, car was bought for 12,000. 3 years later, it was worth 7,800. Find the percentage decrease. It's gone down £4,200. Okay. The original amount is 12,000. So let's start simplifying this. Divide it by 10. Divide it by another 10. Of course, you could have just divided by 100. Divide by 2. 21 over 60. They're both in the threes, so that's 7 over 20. And you might remember 7 over 20 earlier, that's 35%. Again, it tells you it's depreciation, so you don't say 35% decrease. Just 35% will be fine. The next one, question 6. We have got a weight of a bag of sweets starts at 3.2 kilograms when bought. By the end of the week, it's only 400 grams. So find the percentage decrease. This is sort of the hardest this topic gets with regards to percentage change. Obviously, it gets a lot harder with percentages. But here we've got a combination of 2 different units, kilograms and grams. So you just need to make sure you know a few of your relationships between those. I'll just note this one down, of course. 1 kilogram. Kilo means 1,000, like kilometre. I know we say kilometre, but kilometre, kilogram. So 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. So that means to get from 3.2, we're going to straight away change that to 3,200 grams. To go from 3,200 grams to 400 grams, then I've decreased by 2,800. Then I've got over the original 3,200. Straight away I can divide that both by 100. They're both in the 4s. So that's 7 over 8. Now 7 over 8, that's quite a nice one. 8 doesn't go into 100 a whole number of times. So we're going to have to be a little bit more creative here. I'm actually going to... There's lots of different ways you could do with this, but I'm actually going to make it out of 200 first to help me out a bit. I know that 25 eighths are 200. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to times that by 25 as well, which makes it 175. And the reason I went for 200 is because that goes nicely. There's a quick way to go from 200 to 100, which is, of course, just half it, divide by 2. Do the same to the top, and I get 87.5 out of 100, which is 87.5%. Okay, right, question time. I've made it nice and easy for you so that it's less words and just more sort of practice of the idea. So if you'd like to pause it now, then you can obviously have a go at that. All right, I'm hoping you've paused it. And now you're ready for me to go through the answers. Okay, so starts at 40, ends at 44. that is an increase of 4, and the change is 4, the original is 40, that simplifies to 1 over 10, which we know is 10%, so I'm going to write 10 there, or 10%. Don't forget to work out whether it's an increase or decrease. Of course it's gone up, so it's an increase. In fact, make sure you remember these. This is the bit, I mean, obviously I've got it in the table, but if it's not going to have this lovely little table in the exam necessarily, the questions you've got for tomorrow's lesson are going to be a lot more practicing. Make sure you get that in there. Okay. This one, the change is 12, and the original is 60. That simplifies to a fifth, which is 20%. The change of number 3 is 45 over the original 90, which simplifies to a half. Okay, so we've got 50%. We know half is 50%. Oh, I've done it already myself. I've forgotten the increase, decrease. That one, of course, is a decrease. This one here is an increase. Going on to the next one. 200 going down to 100. That's a change of 100. And the original is 200. If I simplify that, I get a half, which is 50%. It's going down, so it's a decrease. I've done the opposite here, and for a reason why it's not going to just be a 50% increase, of course. I've got a change of 100 over the original amount of 100. 100 over 100 is 1, so I'll just make sure that's in there for you. Now, oh, sorry. Mistake. 1 as a percentage, of course, is 100%. So it's a 100% increase. The next one, 200 to 260, that gives us a change of 60. Original 200, simplify that, 6 over 20, 3 over 10. 30% up, so increase. The next one, 260 to 182, that's actually a decrease of 78. Just double check that. 78, yeah. Over the original 260. Now, that's quite a tricky one to simplify like that. So we've got, they're both in the 2s, you can see. So we're going to simplify that to 39 over 130, which you can see is going to be tough. They're both in the 13s. So that's 3 over 10, so 30% decrease because it's gone down. 80 to 82. So for 82, I've got a change of 2, original of 80. That simplifies to 1 over 40. That is then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to half that again to get 0.5 over 20. I know you're thinking, well, hang on, that's a decimal. That you couldn't leave it like that, but you can use it to help you work out. Times then by 5, 2.5 over 100, which 2.5 over 100 is 2.5%. And that's an increase too. This one, the change of 140 to 140.14, that's a change of 0.14 over 140, that is. I'm going to times both of those by 100, so I end up with 14 over 1400. Then I'm going to divide both by 14 to get 1 over 1,000, and I'm going to divide that by 10 to get 0.1 over 100, so 0.1% increase. And last but not least, 3 to 25.5, an increase of 22.5 over the 3. Okay, that goes, if I times them both by 10, I get 225 over 30. They're both in the 3s. Then if we divide both those by 3, well, on the bottom, nice and easy, 10. And on the top, 75. 75 over 10 is 750 over 100. So that's a 150% increase. Okay? See you later.